and go home to my Lord and be free.
I'm not taking you down south, my father would say. We're not ending up at the end of anybody's rope. My father was from North Carolina, and each year he would go on a pilgrimage down south. And although my father and I went many places together, he refused to take me down south with him. He said that I wasn't ready to go south. And he was right. You see, I was born in Niagara Falls, New York. I grew up in Niagara Falls and Buffalo, up north. And I had a good sense of my self-esteem. I would have been outraged by the way black people were treated down south. So he was right not to take me. I would have been outraged, I would have caused trouble and put my father in jeopardy. I went down south in 1951 to go to North Carolina Central University. It's in Durham, North Carolina, where the railroad track literally separated the city. Blacks lived on one side of the tracks and whites lived on the other. Periodically, I would go on town. And the first time I went on town, I got arrested. My roommate and I went to Belk Leggett. It was the Saks Fifth Avenue in the South, and we went in there, and there were two water fountains. One said colored, and one said white, and I said they must be colorblind since they were both white. And we drank out of the whites-only water fountain. Well, the Dean of Women was not happy with us. The police brought us to her. She explained why she wanted us not to do that again, because it jeopardized the whole college. It was not just about us and what we thought. What we did could threaten the relationship of the college had with the town. My mother graduated from St. Paul's College with majors in English and French. She wanted to become a doctor. After graduation and before she met my father, she moved to Paterson, New Jersey. But the only job she could get was day work. She worked in private family services, they called it then. Later, she had to go to Niagara Falls to help her sister who was ill. My mother kept the house and the children, and she worked for other families too. She was a college graduate, and her parents were college graduates, but this was the only work my mother could get. Now, if you had a profession, you were better off in those days. My father went to med school at Ohio State University. Of course, he had to go without scholarships because there were no scholarships for blacks. Unable to afford medicine, my father transferred to mortuary science as a major. Then, after graduation, he moved to Niagara Falls and opened a funeral parlor. Soon the Depression forced him to close the business. Many black people were too poor to afford an elaborate funeral. And there was no mixing of the races, even in death. We moved to Buffalo, different city, but the story was the same. My mother could have taught English or French in the local schools, but because there were no black teachers in Buffalo in 1938, the only job for my mother was day work. Doing day work was not fun in those days. It was grueling, and the pay was horrible, but it would have been even worse had we really lived down south.